Hey, what's up? So there's something that I would like to share. It's something that I've been working on for a little bit that I think is kind of interesting or fascinating, and it's something that I call number dropping. And it is I am aware of it because I have I guess because it's something that I noticed in myself. So it's a funny thing, and it's certainly to do with the ego. So it's like this. It's like numbers. Sometimes we need numbers to communicate certain things, but it's funny how they can be used, in a way that's just like, and so that's kind of what this is about. So it's like this. It's just like, so somebody's like, oh, well, how long? I was like, yeah, I meditate, right? It's like, well, it might say, oh, well, I meditate for an hour, and that's the number. Or I do this, or it's like, you'd be like, oh, well, there's a buddy, and he's just like, oh yeah, I make this much money an hour, or I clear this amount of money, a number dropping, and it's just like, why? You know, is it not enough to just, say, yeah, I'm doing all right? Yeah, or yeah, meditation is important to me. I enjoy it. But to drop that number, sometimes it's a percentage, or a fraction, or yeah, and it's a funny thing to, how it's a thing. It's like the word big. It's like it's a funny thing to do with, because it's about quantity and amount. So it's like size. And so it's like, say like a man, what is your size? What is your length? Or like, how big is this? Or how big is your bank account? How many IQ points do you have? How smart are you? Like as if, because all this comparison, it's a labeling and a boasting, and it's just like, yeah, it's really it's hard to, yeah, without using a vulgar word, yeah, it's ego anyways. A lot of the time, I'm not saying that it's at 100% of the time, but it's just something that I've become aware of. And it's like, of course, noticing, doing it myself, be like, oh, well, say you tell somebody, yeah, like, for example, the whole meditation thing, and you tell somebody that, be like, oh, well, I practice yoga for 3 hours a day. Why do you need to give that detail? Because of the impact that it has. Be like, oh, well, and it's just, it's a funny thing, this thing, how, it's like a fish that was this big, or was it this big? And you got to think why, because there is this tendency to exaggerate. So why would you exaggerate? And so it's like, exaggerating is lying straight up. I mean, it is saying something that is not true in an attempt to impress. It is a boasting. So this is very ego stuff. And so therefore it is stealing, essentially, because through lying, you are stealing a perspective. You are putting forth a false image for somebody to buy into about you. So it's just like, this is who I am, and this is, what I am, or whatever, when it's like, yeah, it's a funny thing. Going about it that way, and it kind of alludes to this idea. It's like, why would you need to do such a thing, to be recognized? Why do you need to be seen in that way? And it shows, I do believe, something to do with a degree of powerlessness, like as if you need to add in order, like add the number to boast this thing in order to feel powerful. I meditate for 3 hours a day. My yoga practice is significant. I have this large of a whatever, right? Or I make this much of a, very, so yeah, there's this thing with, with powerlessness. And it's like, another thing that's interesting along that line. So it's like, I had a teacher explained to me recently about, so it's like, why did Putin invade the Ukraine? And the answer is very simple. Despite what, there's all kinds of other avenues of it. And I'm not saying that those aren't true, but it's like, so why does a person do this type of a thing? And the answer was because he's powerless. Because it is only when you do not think or believe or feel that your ideas are strong enough to be accepted on their own, just by their own merit, that you would need to use force in order to coerce somebody into your methodology, your way of thinking, or your way of living, or whatever. You have to impose on other people. And so this is, a person who is coming from a place of powerlessness. It's just a very interesting perspective, way to look at it. It's something that Lao Tzu talks about, is that it's like when the master has done his job, the people say, look, we did it all by ourselves. What he does is so subtle. It is so that it's undetectable, the way that you govern, that you lead people. They also say in the Tao Te Ching that you be like water, like the ocean. Your power comes from putting yourself below the people. You listen to the will of the people, and your presence is not even felt. That is the mark of a good leader. Not might or right or forcing or armies or any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, just an interesting look into the mind and the ego. And and I think that we all deal with this on some kind of a level sometimes. I mean, like I said, I've come to know this just by examining my own behavior. It's like, why did I exaggerate? Why did I say that? Is the truth not enough? Seriously? So, and it's something, all it is it's a practice that you get more and more comfortable with. Just the truth being sufficient. Be like, yeah, I meditate, I do. And when I think about it, it's like, what's the truth? I thought about it, and the real number is I probably meditate for about an hour and a half a day, between an hour and a half and 2 hours. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that is the truth, right? When you really, it's, not 3 hours. And it's like, be honest. Be open, honest, upfront, straightforward, genuine, forthcoming, honest, kind, nice, benevolent. I mean, geez, there's no need to boast. There's no need to, and all it does when you do that is it just gets in the way of like the truth and the real you and people actually getting to know you. And it's just, instead of this false image that you put out there and this ego. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Ego numbers. So yeah, that's that.